And even if you were to have like a prompt of 10 different things, right? Like say if you had one prompt of like, oh, like here's 10 different personality traits, here's 10 different superpowers, here's 10 different drawbacks.
I like coming up with random list of powers and then just see what I come up with.
Imagine rolling just those things every single time. It's always going to vary. The possibility of that happening is, again, like a 1 in 10 chance, but it's like, it shows that there's an infinite possibility.
Always something else cool right around the corner that we can come up with, because there's no end to the prompts. There's no end to what we can roll up.
We're going to be officially rolling for superpowers. This is usually the make or break.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Oh, my buddy dropped out for a second. There we go. What is up, man? Are you there? Are you okay? Maybe you're there. We're having some technical difficulties on Esteban's end over here, but I'm your ever-loving Uncle Fish, and welcome to Roll for Hero, where we always roll up awesome random new characters and create awesome new things with the help of our lovely crew in the audience who's been hanging out waiting for us to get started. I appreciate you guys chilling with us. R.S. Shepherd, Doggone Comics, Dadpool, thank you guys for hanging out. How's it going, Esteban? Are we in? Are we out? Do we know? He don't know. That's all right. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Love these videos so much. Been busy last couple of Wednesdays. I feel that, man. I've been super busy. Let's see. Everybody's here in the comments hanging out. I'm so excited. Me too, man. Me too. All right, Shepard said you guys should have a show off. One creates a Superman-like character. That would be cool. Can you hear me, Esteban? Hello. Oh, awesome. Deadpool says, I love the first 2 issues of Green Zone, by the way. Read them immediately. Thank you very much, man. I'm glad you enjoyed them. I'm really, really proud of those books, as a matter of fact. Doggone Comics says, don't worry, Mr. Fish. I won't be spewing any word salad this stream. And Jordan says, you guys are awesome. Back at you, Jordan. Back at you. And Deadpool says, definitely getting the rest. All right. There's a lot of them out there. Oh, and not for nothing, but late pledges are still available on Alice Lost in Wonderland issue 3 at GoMrFish.com. You can check it out now. We'll be open for a little bit because I got a little bit behind. Had a lot of family drama, had a lot of things pop up, had a loss in family and lots of impromptu traveling and stuff. So it got me a little bit behind schedule. So we'll be back. We're back on schedule. We're getting there. I got half the book inked today, hit the halfway milestone. So it should be done pretty soon. Let's see. What's this last message? I could barely see anything. It won't move on me. R.S. Sepper says, you guys should do a show off. One creates a Doomsday character, kill a soup and go around and write a Superman campaign, 2-part video challenge. That would be cool. Let's see. What is I didn't know that. Yay. All right. And Esteban's out again, but he's back in the background. Let's see.
Okay. Can we
Okay.
Yay or nay?
I can hear you now.
Oh, thank the Lord. Okay. Sorry about that, everybody. It's been some strange technical issues just because, number one, the AC in my house has been shut off, so we are cooking up like freaking cookies in the oven. And, the method of drawing is going to definitely be interesting today because this is going to be interesting because usually I draw on the iPad and I have no idea if I'm going to be able to do all the fun stuff, like actually show that off. Oh, can't do that on the iPad. That's great. Unless I decide to stream off my phone, because I can do that. No, my Lord.
Could do that.
Honestly, I'm very sorry, everybody. This is probably the less coordinated, totally professionalized method of our show that we have done thus far. But, of course, I just had to simply say ayo and hello, everybody. Welcome to Roll for Hero, a segment of our show where we let the dice dictate what the heck on God's green earth we're going to be drawing today. As always, I'm always excited for Wednesdays because it is my favorite day out of the week at this point, just because we let the dice dictate what we're going to be putting up together. We never really know what's going to happen. These are super impromptu, they're super improvised by every metric. Obviously, I have a ton of fun with this. So my sincerest apologies as I'm going back and forth here and there, a little bit everywhere, and trying to get myself, functioning into the realms of getting here, there, a bit everywhere. Whew, let me tell you, it is no easy task. Green Lantern-like character for a competition. Ooh, okay, not bad. Yeah, life just happens. # roll with it. Oh boy, howdy. That is a painfully true statement.
Do you think we are ready to look at the characters we did last time?
Absolutely, in my opinion, yes.
All right, let me get the correct video ready to go there, and we will get ready for the segment called
Now, this was a really interesting episode to really dive into, just because we finally get to dive into the realms of. So, for one, this was actually last week's. Oh my god, because I can function in English over here, dear Lord. Anyways, last week's episode was very interesting because this time we decided to kind of just roll stats on our own accord and just kind of just do our own separate things. So we both rolled up our own separate characters, our own separate powers, and everything. So the character that you're currently looking at right now is the character that I came up with thankfully to some of y'all out in the comments and to the chat, named Scarlix. Essentially, he is a cosmic being that's essentially, granted his abilities through some strange, cosmic, asteroid or meteor of some kind. And it actually gives it the ability of immortality, the ability to shift or to create body-like weapons, and also the ability of flight. So I really wanted to try to implement those, and I don't know why I decided to go straight with an alien for off the rip, but I just did. And one of you also suggested that he was probably part of a gang before he became an immortal, hence why he has the weird tattoo on his chest, kind of resembling, something that he kind of regrets. So that's obviously what I want to do here. And surprisingly enough, if I can find it in the realms of my bag over here, I actually took some extra time to doodle him out in my sketchbook because I've been trying to get back into doing more traditional stuff now. I even did some fun little sketches sorry about that, hold on, there we go, where he actually is all stars and lights and
cool.
that kind of thing, very Alien X and whatnot, getting to show off some poses and getting to show off the body weapons that he could create, from just the dudes who said cosmic.
I dig that idea. That's cool, man.
So, oh yeah, it was a lot of fun. Obviously, just going off the rip, just trying to see what happens from there. So yeah, this episode is going to be very interesting.
All right, let's see. Oh, wrong direction. Here we go. This is my character. I rolled up Medusa. Let's see, what did I roll up? I got a sci-fi character, human born with one major power, transform matter. She's in it for financial gain, and she has little control over her powers. And being as it's a sci-fi character, I decided to go the technical route with her powers. And so she has her powers from these gauntlets that she developed in this big pack on her back that powers everything. And so anything that she touches with the field generated by these gloves will turn organic matter to stone. Though she doesn't have the absolute best control over it. Maybe she stole the tech, who knows? But she doesn't have the best control over it. So if she starts using it too much, it can go crazy and it could turn everything to stone around her, maybe even turn her to stone. But when you got the power to turn things to stone and you're a chick and you want to be a criminal, Medusa was a great name to roll with. And so she joins the Serpent Society or something like that and gets herself a snake-themed costume and goes to town on it. Let's see. I think our weird Uncle E is back. Let's see. There you go. There he is, but I can't hear him. And he's hung up again. Oh, there he is. I can see you. Can't hear. And now he's gone again. That's the way of the Jedi. I'm here to tell you. You hear 1 minute, you're gone another. Let's see. I'm missing a whole bunch of comments over here. Jordan says he's reading The Unbeatables, which is freaking awesome because I love that book so much. I cheered out loud. I laughed. I had such a big time with that. Let's see. You there? Can we hear you? I can see you. I can't hear you. Doggone Comics says almost every time I've ever seen one of these Roll for Hero videos, I'm always shocked that barely anybody's watching them. I'm telling you. And with this kind of production value, with this kind of high standards, and the way we do, I can't believe we're not casting dozens of people at a time. But thank you for your honesty there, mate. Let's see. Where were we? Dadpool says the black sclera with bright colored eyes is always cool looking. Absolutely. If you hadn't done bright colored eyes, I would have not remembered what sclera was. And my wife's an optician. I should know, but yeah, thankfully context helped me out there. I love how energetic Esteban always is. Absolutely. Even when he's silenced, you can just see the emotion ripping from his hands. He's always so involved. He should have been a silent actor. That's what I'm saying. You guys should do a Lobo-style character who is the leader of an interstellar biker gang. Always love that. Woo! Had some echo there. They could be leaders of rival biker gangs. Oh, that would be neat. Let's see. Thank you, Dragon Gaming 459. Always awesome designs. Appreciate that. Doggone Comics and the alien that Esteban made could be in that game. Oh, that'd be cool.
That would be cool indeed. Am I
yes,
hurt?
it could be the Star Devils versus the Locos. Sclerix is already running from a space gang, so it fits. I like it. See, y'all paying attention. Y'all are putting the pieces together, laughing so hard at y'all right now. I'm glad we can bring you joy. That's what we're here for. Maybe you guys could do a superhero family. Okay, now that would be kind of fun.
Yes.
Honestly. Like an old school superhero family with the super teens and like the little spunky kid sidekick and all this stuff and the weird uncle that's letting them go and risk their lives as superheroes. Hear the air conditioning come on. So we got audio over there on Esteban's place, but we don't have Esteban. We had him 1 minute. By God, we rebooted and he's gone. Thank the maker, thank the stream. He's back again. Let's see.
I don't know if y'all can hear me or not, or anything.
We can hear you.
Okay, but y'all can't see me though.
I can see you.
Oh, you can.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna be totally honest, I can't see myself, but as long as y'all can, that's fantabulous, phantasmaglorious. Anywho's in. Sorry about that, because technical difficulties and the great.
He says maybe we should do a villain that causes technical issues. That's pretty funny, but I'm afraid he would haunt me. Like the Captain Marvel family. Absolutely. R.S. Shepard gets it. He's picking up what I'm putting down. All right. Let's see. I'm going to turn that off for a second. And I said I'm going to turn that off for a second. Okay. There we go. Turn that off for a second. Now, we talked about it earlier. I don't know with the technical difficulties you're having. Do we want to do one set of prompts this time, or do we want to do our own individual sets of prompts? Because what we were discussing before, though I think he may have frozen, so I'll discuss it for us. We were discussing the idea of rolling up one setting so that our guys come from the same place in the same world, and then rolling our own from there on so we could get like a hero and a villain. Welcome to the Slapstick Comedy Hour with your weird Uncle E and your Uncle Fish. Apparently, I'm the straight man for this one, which is kind of funny. But let me see if I can click on the right place to bring him back in again. There we go. Got the top of your head. How's it going? How you been? I can't hear the air conditioner, so I'm catching glimpses. I'm not hearing anything, but I'm catching some blurry shots from time to time. I'm glad you guys could be here with us to join along in the fun and enjoy all this. Let's see. Carol Danvers. Let's see. Phantasmaglorious. Indeed. Hey, Esteban. I'm reading The Unbeatables. I'll pass it along. I'm telling you, it's good. I freaking love that series. The freaking comments keep coming. I try and click on one and they move. Do a version of Hancock, he says. Uncle E needs to use a cell phone. Probably. But he's not, because I can see it in his hand. I can see it. Can't hear you. Maybe you should try using your phone. Can't hear you. You can keep talking. We'll keep listening. Use that in your hand. Use that. There you go. Oh, the fun. It's that Latin blood. You can tell what he's saying with his hands and stuff. It's that energy that he has. Because, you know, though I got it too, and I'm about as pasty as mayonnaise. So who knows? But I can't do it. You handcuff me. I can't talk at all. Let's see. Okay. Doggone Comics says that he downloaded the webtoons and is going to start reading The Unbeatables. Jordan says he's absolutely loving The Unbeatables and enjoying it. Let's see. Uncle E needs to use his cell phone. Disappearing is a superpower. Yeah, could be. The realness is what makes our show special.
It really does.
Not
okay.
all flashing.
Am I heard? Am I understood?
I'm hearing something.
Okay, because I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Yep. Y'all can see me now.
Yeah, I mean, it freezes every once in a while, but you know.
Don't you just love that? Joy to the world, as I'm currently trying to find the password and all that other kind of fun stuff.
Poor Katie. I'm listening whilst I do comic coloring. Only 45 pages to go.
Hey, let's get it.
Yeah, I know the feeling. That's kind of how I felt penciling the other day on Alice 3. Because with all the stuff that's come up recently and all the trips we've had to take in Promptu, and I'm leaving Friday for another trip that's been planned for 2 years. All this stuff going on, I got behind on a client's book. I had to get it done before the deadline hit, and that pushed me out on Alice 3 by a couple of weeks more than I wanted to be. So I was cranking out pencils, and it felt like I was never going to get it done. I got the pencils done yesterday or the day before, and I'm about halfway through the book with inks now, and it's freaking beautiful. It is going to be the coolest book I've ever worked on, but right now it kind of feels like 45 pages to go. But I'm getting there. Got a bunch of them already flatted and back again. But let me check this real. Yeah, all right, I can do that. Nope, wrong button. Give us 1 second while I send dear Jan Esteban the link to join in so he could try coming in on his phone if he wants to. Just sent that to you. Let's see. R.S. Separate says, Fish, let's just create it for him. That takes all the fun out when he doesn't get to. I make my own superheroes, and I think I might make a video on that. You absolutely should make a video on that. I would watch a video on that. Absolutely, man. Do it. I dare you. I double dog dare you. I triple dog dare you. Create heroes whose villain is the dark side of themselves, like Sentry in the Void. Oh, see, I like that idea. I like that idea a lot. I had an idea the other day for... Oh, well, we were talking about it on stream. For the idea of a character that, like, during the day was a hero and during night was the villain, or vice versa. And you didn't know that the other side of the personality was even there. Well, boys and girls, theys and thems, kiddies of all ages, I'm going to go ahead and start rolling up the setting for where we're going to be. So hold on one second while I do my fancy schmancies. And as we get ready to... All right, we got the Castle Grayskull up, and now we're going to get the prompts up, and we got Esteban coming back in.
Finally,
And
we're here. Oh,
there
thank
we are.
the Lord. Okay, the only downside is, everybody, is that I am unable to show off my iPad or anything like that just because I'm on my phone. Yeah, basically. So, but don't you worry. Still here, still functioning, finally.
It'll all work out in the wash.
Yes.
I don't think Katie or R.S. Shepard or Dadpool's gonna ski that on us too quickly if we're not 100% on top of it every single time. That's why it's good to have friends. All right, let's roll up the setting for our character. All right, I got a D10 in my hand, ready to go. Let's see, what have we not gotten yet? We haven't got Ancient Gods. We haven't got Your Choice. We haven't got Street Level. Let's see. Lucky Chicken Bone. What do we get? Oh, we got a 9. That's sci-fi again. I'm gonna do a mulligan. I'm gonna roll it one more time just to see what we get.
If you also end up rolling sci, oh,
that's a 10. That's your choice. Be creative.
Oh, our choice. Well, Mr. Fish, seeing how you're the one rolling, what is it? What setting? What location is this character going to be set in? The choice is yours. The power is within your realm.
I'm going to say it's tough. It's tough because I like a lot of things, and a lot of them are technically sci-fi, which we already rolled. I'm going to say the world of Alice Lost in Wonderland, which could be anything that's lost in this interdimensional rift. Could be stuff cobbled together from all kinds of things. Could be aliens, monsters, ghosts, robots. Could be all kinds of stuff. So we're going to create characters for that world, and we're going to see what happens with that, because why not? We'll do some crossover branding here. If I get to pick, that's what I'm picking. All right. Now, are we going to do the same set of prompts, or are we going to each do our own?
If anything, I think it would be nifty if we were able to create a character that's set in the same, setting. But what would make it different, and I almost pinched myself there, is that we would create characters that are within that kind of setting. So I can do an entirely different character. You can do an entirely different character, and then we're going to kind of go off of that. But because this is like an Alice Lost in Wonderland, I'm already kind of having a bit of an idea. I don't even think I need to roll anything. But that's not the point of Roll for Hero. The whole point of the show is that we know what we want, that we don't know what we're going to do, and that we have to use the unpredictability of, dice and stuff. Also, I'm going to be hooking up a few things here and there just because I might as well give some professional sound quality while I can, and while I'm at it, you know what I mean.
So are we each going to roll up our own origins? Esteban. You go.
The one time where I try to sound professional, things don't want to work with me. Anyways, I will roll some origins and whatnot. So let's just do that.
Okay.
Too fancy here. All right, what do we got in terms of origins? Let me get my dice set up and ready because we are totally a professional show.
All right, I got failed experiment myself.
I got what's number 4?
Failed experiment.
I'm also another failed experiment. Wow, what are the chances?
Oh, okay. We need to be from the same experiment. We could be completely different directions, but we need to be from the same experimenter or something. Because that's too good. Okay.
That is that is a rarity, by the way. So again, with the fact that we rolled up the same thing, that's insane.
All righty. Let's see. I'm gonna get different dice here for the power sets for my character. Got number 1 major power.
Okay, give me a second here. Just gotta writing down some stuff.
The dice do not want me getting overpowered here lately. But the dice know I'll go crazy with just the one, too. So,
On. You know what the crazy part was that I was actually kind of low-key rehearsing to myself how this entire episode was going to go, and then technical difficulties decided to be like, screw you! Don't you love that? Anyways, so the setting is Alice Lost in Wonderland. We have a failed/successful experiment, correct?
Yeah.
And then this one is, what is it? Power set? Bet?
Yeah.
4.
That is 1 major and 2 minor. Oh, you packing the power here.
1 major, 2 minor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Only 9 is bigger than that, and 9 is way overpowered. All right, let's see. Now for the major powers, of which I only get the 1. Let's see what I get. Lucky chicken bone. Whoa! We shot right out of the gate. Let's try that again. We got a 2 super strength.
I got a numero 8.
Well, I didn't get super strength with Todd. I'm gonna roll one more time just to see what 4. No, that's elemental control. I already did that, so we'll do strength.
What's number 8?
Number 8 is telekinesis.
Ooh, telekinesis. Because I know how to spell that. That's fine. All right, so that's my 1 major power. Now I need to roll for my 2 minor inconveniences of powers. Are the inconveniences? We'll never know.
I'll make that bigger so you can see since I don't have to roll.
Oh, thank the Lord. All right, so we have flight, body weapons, energy projection, and all the other. I happen to have. Oh, dang, would you look at that? I happen to have flight and body weapon. You know what? Let me roll that on again. Because funnily enough, it's 1 and 2, and that was the last. That was actually the last thing I ended up rolling when I did Scarlix. So, because I had flight and, body weapons, so my major power was immortality. Let's try that one more time. There we go. You are kidding me. I kid you not. I rolled 2 3s.
That's energy projection, like lasers or something like that, or.
Okay, yeah, hold on. Now I got to do another. Okay, I don't know which dice to trust at this point.
Shooting rays out of your hands or something.
All right, I guess the dice say, "Hey, we want him to fly." So you know what? Flight and laser beams.
Flight and laser beams. Laser.
And was it energy projection? Yeah, energy projection. And
energy projection is number 3. Yeah.
Man, I think this is the most we've ever rolled. Way too many more dice than we usually do in most Roll for Hero episodes. Okay. Well, okay. So I got my powers and such.
We got people subscribing to each other's channels in the comments. Man, I appreciate y'all being supportive of each other. That is awesome.
Yeah, man. Hey, honestly, I've been loving this community. And also, I have heard through the grapevine and through all the cracked out technicalities that some of y'all have checked out Unbeatables. Thank you guys so much. And of course, you guys should totally go check out Alice Lost in Wonderland, The Green Zone, T-Man and Hyper Strike. Was it T-Man and Hyper Strike?
Yeah, T-Man and Hyper
You guys should
Strike.
totally go still check those out. Again, crafted by your beautifully bald-headed, big-bearded Mr. Fish right over here. But anyways, just had to put that out there. Obviously, I've been having a blast. Also, some updates for the Unbeatables. Real quick, the Unbeatables are going to be updating every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So you guys will be getting 1 page or 3 pages every week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Just to kind of chuck that out to the wind. But moving on. I think we have our next one, which is motivation. Okay, so this means, so we are 2 characters. From the way that you kind of, put this entire setup together here, we're 2 characters that happen to be the same experiments. Now, what is our motivation? What for?
3, Sacred Oath.
All right, I got this one last time already, which is running well, I think this can work in this case. This can actually work, which is running away from the mob/villain.
It could be your creator. It could be being on the run from whoever experimented on us. And just not for nothing, like, I've had some people message me and have a hard time with some of these ideas. These are very open-ended concepts. These are not like hard Legos that will only fit together in a certain way and they have to be just so. These are colors of paint and you can mix them however you want to create something beautiful out of it. Like a Sacred Oath would sound like a great thing for a hero, like the Green Lanterns, in Brightest Day and Darkest Night, that kind of thing would be a sacred oath that you're following. That's your motivation for being a part of this group. A sacred oath could also be an oath of, vengeance or something, or an oath of, to wreak havoc on the world for your clan being destroyed by pollution, in your undersea world or whatever. It could be a negative thing. It could be a positive thing. It could be, I swear to God, nobody is ever going to make fun of my name again. Being called Fish my entire life, I could absolutely see a sacred oath being, I am going to make everybody so terrified of me they will never make fun of my name again. That could be a sacred oath. It doesn't have to be something super stiff. You can make it whatever you want. Financial gain seems like a great reason for a villain's motivation, but it could also be for a hero. Booster Gold is absolutely in it for financial. He's in it for fame. He's in it to get attention and to get rich. That's what he's in there for. Where other characters could be adventure seekers. That could be a hero. That could be a villain. That could be anybody. Like, you don't have to take it super, super serious. This is fun. This is to spur our creativity. There we go. Now, for the optional modifier, my favorite part is this is throwing the chaotic wrench into the works here. Or spanner in the works for Katie if she doesn't understand our technical terms over here. I'm going to roll and get a 9, which means my power comes from something else.
Giving me
Now, what does my power come from is the real question. I mean, it could be any external thing. It could be like getting your power from Venom, the symbiote. It could be, a ghost. It could be a familiar, like what's his name? The little wizard dude in DC that has the cat. It's, the real, like, the crux of his power. Let's see, or it could be anything like that. We have any ideas? Deadpool's a really good example. Let's see. Anybody have a suggestion on where my power would come from? I can't. Hold on. I got to get this down so I can read. I know what a wrench is, she says. Well, I don't. You never know. As much time as you spend online talking to Yanks, I would be surprised if you didn't know. But, I got to pick at you because you're my friend. How would you know you're my friend if I don't pick at you? Dreams World Nightmare Escape. Let's see. So what do you think about the upcoming Spider-Man War series starring Nicolas Cage? Talked about that one last time. Dreams while he sleeps.
All right.
Can
I be heard? Sorry about that, everybody.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, perfect. Sorry about that. So just so that we are sure, or just so that I know that we're on this. Yeah. Unless you want to say hi to the followers, then yes. My father, everybody. You good? This is the man, the myth, the legend, my father, Mr. Fish.
What's up, Dad?
Sir?
I'm blessed and highly favored. How are you, man?
I am like hot. My AC broke down. My hot water heater is broken, and we're about ready to go ahead and get this thing fixed up. But listen, I just want to tell you, I appreciate everything you do. You are a pioneer, obviously, in this space, and your consistency and that stability is what's going to bring a lot of young people their security in what they do. And brother, man, I tell you, I'm excited with everything that you do with my son Esteban, and for those followers out there too that are maybe listening, I just want to let you know, you guys are in a good place with good mentors that are willing to share with you the secrets to be better every single day. Take note and do it with excellence. Love you guys. Thank you so much for letting me pop in on this live with my towel covering me because I don't want everybody looking at my
Pops can pop in anytime he wants.
Have a good one, Mr. Fish.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much.
My father, everybody. Give some dubs in the chat for my dad here.
Nice round of applause.
Anyways, so just to recap to where we're at right now, setting in the because I know how to English. Set in the realms of Alice Lost in Wonderland, a fail/successful experiment with, for me, one major, two minor powers that has telekinesis, flight, and energy projection, and I'm running away from the mob as my main motivational thing. Now we are at optional modifiers, and now I will be rolling that for myself. Sorry for holding everybody off. That is going to be numero cinco. What do I got?
Oh, number 5 is weakness to a particular item. So something is your weakness. It could be kryptonite. It could be copper, like Metro Man. It could be whatever it needs to be. Like for Cadence Featherwind, it was pollution was his weakness. Let's see. We got lots of messages in here. Doggone Comics says that mine should be coming from magical amulets that's passed down through his family, kind of like White Tiger.
That's pretty cool.
Good idea. Let's see. R. Shepard says source of power for heroes' dreams, the villains powered by nightmares.
That's another good one.
Hey. Jordan says, hey, Jordan.
How you doing?
Deadpool says, Pop's going to make us all cry. I'm telling you, man. He's good at that.
Yep, one that's supported.
Fish's powers could come from drugs, and Esteban's could get theirs from being possessed by a ghost, giving psychic powers like Poltergeist. See, I'm kind of leaning towards Ghost myself because there are these interdimensional yokai ghost creatures like Cheshire in my world. I'm thinking like getting his power from being teamed up with one of those would be really interesting because it would be such a fickle mistress to try and, stay in line with. And Art Shepard says that Esteban's weakness should be water, which is kind of hard to come by in a lot of places in Alice Lost in Wonderland. So that might be a good one.
Okay, interesting, because this actually gets me to learn a little bit more. Obviously, I gotta get my Alice. I think I only have like a fraction of Alice Lost in Wonderland in your anthology book. So that's like the closest I can get to Alice Lost in Wonderland as of right now.
Okay. See, okay, I apologize. I'll send you the
Oh
digital
no no no
copies
no! No.
over.
That is
Um,
not fair for you, sir. I have to purchase your books like everyone else has to, because it is only fair. Plus, it is supporting your overall career, and I would assume that when the day comes, and I mean, you did that with me. You bought my book, so
oh,
in
100%.
fairness, I had to buy from you. And yes, I have bought plenty of from you, but I also want to make sure that I, you know, again, in all fairness, I don't want to be given all that kind of special treatment. Not just because I happen to be friends with the legendary Mr. Fish. Come on, that's just cheating. Um. Anyway,
But but it's just funny to me when they mentioned water because the whole thing gets kicked off in the beginning of issue 1 of Alice Lost in Wonderland because she needs a bath so badly because she smells when they wake up in the morning. And Big Ten is like, look, if the Tin Man without a nose is telling you you need a bath, you need a bath. And so she's like, all right, well, we're going to have to go. Oh, goodness.
oh no, that can't be good.
I'm going to turn that off for just a second until I see his picture come back up in the background because that was noisy. Um, but anyway, that's how the whole thing in Alice Lost in Wonderland gets kicked off. Is they're going to find a bounty because she stinks and she needs a bath, and she's like, "Oh, you got fancy wash water taster. You can afford that, huh? You holding out on some gold on me I didn't know about?" And Tin Man's like, "No, I spent all our gold on fluids and flesh of animals that I was just gonna excrete. No, yeah, I didn't waste our money at all." But hopefully Esteban will be back shortly. Maybe he'll be back even taller. But um. Okay, I see a face. Let's see if there's
There we
sound.
go. Sorry about that, everybody.
There we
Don't know
go.
what that was all about. Sorry again. Apologies in advance. This is probably our most uncoordinated video yet. Oh yeah.
Oh, give it time. We'll have plenty of more uncoordinated videos.
Hey, listen, all for at least. Hopefully, we'll see if we can cap it off at this season. Anyways, but speaking of, funnily enough, I was trying to see if I can get some of my friends to pop on over to see if they can actually be little guest stars, drawing along with us. That would have been a ton of fun.
That would be fun. I would like to have more people come on like Mog did. I've been meaning to set up one of those calendar apps so that they can come in and just sign up and I don't have to try and organize a bunch of it. Let's see. I've done a lot of guy characters so far. I've only done, I think, the one female character. So I'm gonna do a female character this time.
Because when you say, here's the thing, you ended up kind of saying something that really caught my interest, which was the idea of the yokai. When you mentioned how, it's an interdimensional rift with all these aliens and monsters and whatnot. Now, I don't know where the line draws it, just something completely cracked out or weird or something else. But a part of me wants to go off of a Japanese yokai, or maybe just trying to do something a little different. I don't know because that sounds interesting. But well, I mean, who says we can't be two completely different experiments?
I mean, we can be very different versions or very different outcomes of the same thing. The experiment could have been can we I'm thinking the idea of can we bind one of these yokai to a person or manage to steal the yokai's power and give it to somebody that works for us. I think would be a really cool way. I mean, that would be a cool experiment that could give us both very different powers depending on which yokai they bound us to.
Because I kind of got a bit of
worked.
an idea for what I would do in terms of a yokai. Because I mean, it was one of the first ones that popped up when looking up Japanese yokai, and that is the kappa, which is obviously the ones based off like turtles. They have like a little thing on their head and whatnot, which I think could be an interesting idea to play on, like, the telekinesis aspect, or how flight would work with that character. I will never know, and energy projection. I feel like that would so be tailored to just like the head portion itself, but that's at least one aspect of it. What kind of yokai, or what is it that you're thinking about doing, at least with your character? If we were to go off of this, seeing how we're kind of in similar cahoots here.
For mine, I'm thinking a very small and cute looking, like almost Pokemon type creature that I'm just going to make up for this, but that has incredible strength, like a very small but very strong spirit being. And as long as this girl can keep it happy and keep this bond working with it, it will give her access to its power and strengthen her. And so as long as she keeps it happy and they're working together, everything's good. But it's kind of like, I'm thinking kind of like a kitten or like a cat. Like when it wants to come hang out with you, everything is great. When it doesn't want to be fooled with, things are not so great. And you can't just necessarily pick it up and make it love you right now just because you want it to. Like, I'm thinking that would be a fun dynamic to have with this thing. Like, can she keep it happy enough and content enough that it's willing to work with her when she needs it? Or is it just going to leave her high and dry, when she's in trouble? I think that would be a beautiful challenge to have with this thing. Story wise, I love that idea myself. So that's the direction I'm going. Like Cheshire in my book is a yokai, and he's mean and vicious and conniving and absolutely is up to something, but we don't quite know what it is yet. And he's clearly not trustworthy, but you catch a glimpse. If you really pay attention, you'll notice that he only bares his teeth and starts to show his true nature when Alice's back is turned. Like when she's facing him, his ears are down and he's all like, "Oh, poor little me, who would do such a thing?" But as soon as she turns her back, his mouth gets gigantic, wide, full of billions of razor sharp teeth, rows and rows and rows, and his long snake tongue comes out, and you see just how vicious a monster he really is. But and his main thing is intangibility. He can, go in and out of things, disappear whenever he wants to.
Interesting.
But he likes to go around and stir up trouble. Let's see.
Interesting. Okay, because I'm trying to figure out what I would even do with my character here, because I don't know why I instantly thought of like the Japanese yokai when you mentioned yokai, because that was the first one that kind of popped into my mind. Kappa was the first one, because again, I think I was more, Ninja Turtles.
It's a good one.
They always kept associating it with that one, and I kind of like the idea of it. I mean, I can always mix and match it. Well, we're gonna see, because I'm gonna sketch this one out first of all, because Lord knows my technology doesn't need to be overheating right now. So we're gonna give this a try.
Deadpool says he needs help thinking of a particular item that his character is weak
to. True. And you know what? Actually,
Here,
you know what? I think one of y'all mentioned water, and you're not wrong about it being like a rarity in Wonderland, but it's also like so weirdly enough, Kappas happen to have, like a weird, like empty.
See, that would be a neat way of reversing it. Of he's got to have that water, and in a place where water is scarce and hard to come by, that could be a big deal right there.
Right, or we could say that it's a specific type of water. Maybe like, if he's like, as long as he's the one brewing whatever it is, he can put it on his head. He's all good. He's all fine and dandy. That's actually what probably activates some type of power. But say if it's like, like either a type of poison or maybe a type of water that was specifically, curated from basically a not so good thing. Basically, if it's like a poison effect or something like that, that could greatly affect him in his overall being. So maybe he could, use like herbal teas as like a method of him being calm and tranquil, or maybe we can play off the idea that like, again, like the energy projection or the energy that he is projecting is equivalent to the type of water that's on his head. So maybe it's a weakness to maybe a particular type of water, or maybe, as weird as it is, pure water. Maybe like just pure water, as it's like just nothing to him. It's like, oh shoot, I have no powers. That's like it's like void of all his abilities and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I like the idea of him having to keep that water on his head as a weakness is beautiful. Like if it was me, I would probably get like a old space helmet or something and just fill it full of freaking water so that I always had my head protected and covered. But then of course then that's something that could get busted and drain out. But I would, if I was going to be leaving the edge of a pond for more than a minute, I would definitely be stocking up and carrying water with me if it were me, because don't want to get
Or
out
maybe
there and
like
die.
in his rendition, it's like one of those classic diver outfits, with the weird barb,
Yeah.
looking kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, I like the retro sci-fi stuff, so I tend to slide that way a little bit, but yeah, that's same difference.
But the question is, so my character is running away from something. Maybe, right? I don't know if you've interpreted the Mad Hatter yet in your rendition of this story.
We haven't shown him yet. We've been working on ideas for what all's going to go on with him in the background, but he hasn't been shown yet. So you can have free reign to pretty much do whatever you want right now. See what comes
Because
of
I was
it.
going to say, what if the Mad Hatter in your... I don't know if this is going to affect the story or not, but what if he was like a mad scientist? How he's always mad all the time and whatnot. So you get to play with the notion that he's like a mad scientist. The hat might be the reason as to why he has a particular level of genius, right? And
Now, not to give away too much, but the wizard of Emerald City is absolutely would fit that bill. Like he's a tech-minded dude, but he's done some horrible things, trying to hold power and whatnot. Just like I said, I'm trying not to give away too much. It's going to be in issue 3, but yeah, he would. And he's not a main character in issue 3 yet, but you start to see glimpses and get a hint of his unniceties.
Okay.
Because that's a word. Katie will back me up on that. It's old English. Y'all just don't know it.
For you happen to be the wisest of us all. I can tell. I still have hair. So you saw what my dad looked like. He got no hair at all on him at all. So I mean, he's clearly the wisest out of my family.
You're not completely wise until you're bald from head to toe.
Okay.
The alopecia are the smartest of us all.
Yes. Okay.
Once we're no longer impeded by the hair of the body, the mind can be free to explore the wonders of the galaxy.
Oh. Now I'm just trying to figure out how I can try to... Okay, so he has flight and energy projection. Oh, this is interesting. Because how would that even work? Okay. Let me see. Okay, so what if like... So I decided to go off my rendition of this character. I decided to use the classic Kappa, the turtle-like creature with the little void thing on his head. right? I'm just trying to go off of that notion. And his powers are that he can fly, that he has energy projection, and he has telekinesis. Okay. So telekinesis, I'm always assuming, is always going to be involved with the mind, right?
Yeah. Esteban, what if your character is possessed by the Mad Hatter? Kind of like the Mask character is in the Mask comic book. When a human puts on the mask, it becomes that crazy character. Oh, I like that idea.
Dig that concept.
I mean, yeah, I always had that idea, and that's not going to show up in the book later just because. No, I've always had that idea, R.S. Shepard. Shame on you for saying otherwise. I'm not easily influenced at all. Could you guys do a speedster character? Absolutely. At some point we will, because it's on the list. And eventually we're just going to have to start picking things that we haven't done yet. That would be
or
an
more
interesting
like, I feel like over time we should probably start taking away some powers out of this and probably put in.
Well, what's wrong with your elemental control?
Yeah,
are you tired of your failed experiment that has elemental control
numerous times for the past few episodes and whatnot? Totally not at all was I about to have a crash out moment when I saw.
I mean, it's a wide open category, but yeah, we have hit it a few times. Okay, chat, I'm going to need your help. I want you guys to spit out a list of the cutest animals, the things that you think are just the cutest animals in the world, couldn't hurt a fly, like a bunny rabbit. I mean, a bunny rabbit, if you ever been bit by a rodent, you know they could hurt. But I'm just saying, like, cute, fluffy animals for me to mix together to make this yokai that is going to be her spirit being that she's working with here. What's up, Cedric? Good to see you. Oh, a chinchilla. Okay, see, I wouldn't have even thought of that. That is 100% headed in the right direction.
You know what I could, because he's a lab experiment. I had this idea for a while of like a turtle-based character, and his wings are also kind of like his shell. Shell can open.
Orangutan can straight up rip your arms off and beat you with them. But, yeah, I mean, they're generally pretty gentle, but yeah. But they're strong as all get out. A koala, again, could hurt you, but
a sloth
looks very cute. Sloth. If you'd ever met my rabbit Buttons, you wouldn't think they were cute and harmless. That thing was the Antichrist in rabbit form. Oh, I'm saying, I've been around rabbits. They can be very mean.
They're jerks. I had a pet bunny. Rest his soul, because unfortunately he had some complications. His name was Jet. And it was because he was jet black and he was fast as all craziness. Rest in peace, little buddy. I would actually use that character to an extent. Am I going to create the black rabbit? Maybe.
Pygmy hip. Sugar glider is a good one. A guinea pig. I like that. Guinea pig. They keep moving so much. Frog. You would not believe how many times I get called frog. Like, for people that have only met me a couple of times, like in real life, and don't know me from like the internet or comic books or something, just people that meet me in life, and then like you see them a year later and they're like, oh, I know you, frog, right? And I'm like, you know what? Starts with a F, lives in the water. I'll take it. That's close enough.
Okay. Oh, I just came up with an idea here, man. Pretty crazy one, right? So I'm playing a little bit more with it. So to play with the idea of his flight, I decided to give him like a weird turtle ladybug shell thing, where like his shell would open up like a ladybug's thing, and he has wings underneath it, so that's what actually allows him to fly.
Okay, I like that.
So we actually get to play with a little bit of a fun, grotesque concept here and stuff. Oh, that's going to be a little interesting.
Okay, I don't know what a quokka is. I know the name. I just can't picture what it is in my head. No, it was just the cutest little thing in the world. That's what him is. Yes, it was just a precious little baby. Okay, yeah. That's what a quokka is.
Oh, those little suckers.
That's just the cutest little thing in the world.
They literally will smile along with you. That is how adorable they are.
Yeah, I just didn't remember the name. That's all.
Okay, so
I just are stupid. That's all.
So what lives? I mean, without spoiling any aspect of Alice Lost in Wonderland, what are some other creatures? So it could just be just about anything. Is it just like an interdimensional rift? Is it, as generic, or is there like an actual, is this strictly based on fairy tale lore, or is this like a 100% made up thing that you were able to conjure up?
Oh, it's 90% just stuff I've been making up over the years that fits, like all of the characters, like the White Rabbit. He's a character I've had for 30 years. And when I decided to combine my Alice Lost in Wonderland story with my time traveling barbarian story, I basically I took one character out of the barbarian story and made that Alice instead. It's still basically the same character. She's changed a lot, but essentially she's the same character. It's just in the way she gets into the story is the White Rabbit comes running through by her house and grabs her up to save her life and runs away with her and takes her to Wonderland. And by the time he kills the bad guys that are hunting them, he can't figure out how to get her back to her home dimension. So he tries to raise her in Wonderland as best he can. And he can come and go however he wants with his sword that lets him cut through reality. Anybody else that's lost in Wonderland is stuck there forever. Like they, for some reason, fell through their dimension into this crack in reality and are stuck there. So you've got a whole bunch of different people from different places and times and dimensions all stuck in together. You've got some interdimensional beings like Cheshire that can come and go as they please. And this is just kind of a weird place to check out while you're cruising around. And, but for them, they're basically lost here. And there's like Neverland is a place where there is no land. It's just toxic clouds everywhere that'll melt the flesh from your bones. And you have to stay in these airships above the clouds to, keep from dying. The Tower Islands are places where they're just these big, long, finger-like islands that stick up out of the toxic clouds, and people have built settlements there. There's one place, Chasm City, that's just like a crack between two worlds, and a lot of people that have got stuck here have built like a shanty city in this crack, in this crevice between these two rock walls that just go on forever up and down and side to side. There is the Wild East, which is like a cross between the Wild West and Jurassic Park. There is a city ruled by robots and sentient, tech that will basically kill any human that comes in there. And some of these ideas fit so well in with other ideas from the public domain stories. Like I had one place that was just like the tops of skyscrapers and stuff sticking up above the clouds. So you got this whole skyscraper, super city, but you've only got like the top 20 stories of some of these skyscrapers to live on. If it goes down below the clouds, you'll die. And that made a great glass city. And, and the Emerald City is like ruled by fantasy dwarves that have carved it out of actual, like a giant emerald vein. So it's one giant, massive chunk of emerald they've carved this city out of and have been ruling there for, forever and ever. And it's a lot of different ideas that I had. And then it just, when I decided to add in the public domain stuff, it just fits so well. Like, oh, these guys could be those guys, and this could be him. And this ancient automaton that has been alive forever and lived through reality a couple of times already could be Big Ten. He could be the Tin Man. And and this ancient, interdimensional being that, works deals and rips people off and, this conniving little deal maker, he would fit good as the cobbler because he has all these little spiders and stuff working for him that could be his elves. And, and this criminal warlord that was ruling over Glass City, that could be the Queen of Hearts. And, so these characters are already over the top, just suddenly clicked into these places. And so it's more my ideas that happen to fit into some of these shaped blocks. But now, because TS does his homework and reads all this stuff and makes sure everything matches up, now a lot more of the story lore is starting to come in and be blended with it, and it's making it way more interesting than I ever could have done.
Oh, yeah. And also, while you were doing that, I managed to scribble up a bit of a concept over here. So we have essentially like a turtle-based yokai who has a ladybug-like shell, who's essentially, here we go. I can probably show that off. So it's like a turtle-based yokai, but the shell is like that of a ladybug, so it opens up so there's wings underneath it. Now, I decided to give him like these little headphones that actually also attach to like his little goggles or glasses or whatever. And he has like a little dome that he kind of puts over his little thing of his own water, which would actually allow him the ability to like, work off of the quote unquote, the waves of Wonderland and whatnot, can allow him the ability to think or to use his, telekinetic abilities, probably to, read a few minds here and there. And maybe that can also allow him the idea to control energy and to project it elsewhere. How that part's going to work, I'm still in the process of doing so. Maybe it can be a cracked out idea that, depending on the moisture levels of some regions, he can kind of like use that pseudo laser beam effect. I don't know. I'm still thinking and whatnot. So we'll see where we go from there. But yeah, I don't know.
Gizmo from Gremlins.
Gizmo from Gremlins. Nice. Now that's one concept. Sorry, it is currently it is an oven right now up in here. Whew, because the power just shut off in this room again. Gotta love that.
Katie says that's a cool design, man.
Thank you. Hopefully some of y'all out there have been drawing out some very nifty concepts and such. That could be one way of doing it. But again, if it's Alice Lost in Wonderland, I wanted to know like what other creatures in Wonderland could I do an entire thing of to kind of like. Well, this also relates to other characters too.
I mean, yeah, any public domain character is free game.
Just make
to play with.
What about Scarecrow? Have you ever touched on him yet?
Yeah, he's a bounty hunter that is hunting Alice and Big Ten now. And he was supposed to be hunting the White Rabbit originally, but then she blew his head off in issue 1, and now he's on the hunt for her in Big Ten.
Okay, because weirdly enough, I do have an idea for another Scarecrow adjacent character, so I don't know if this would ever work in canon, but I think it would be nifty. And funnily enough, I actually used this character in like a pirate adjacent game, and his name was Manny because he was like a mannequin. Kind of. So he was like a typical Scarecrow, but like comedically, he was part of a pirate crew. He was still filled with hay and whatever. And he was basically the weapons holder because literally he would have swords and arrows stabbed through him. So like, he'll be like, it's like, Manny, a sword. And just kind of chucks over his sword to somebody or whatever.
Oh, that's cool. I really loved the idea of scarecrows in D&D when they were introduced through like Dragon magazine or something back in the day. And I love the ideas of these supplemental characters, but the thought that like once they were enchanted, they could continue to live basically forever as long as they keep refreshing their hay and mending their clothes or getting new clothes. But like if you completely destroy the hay or their clothing for them to be bound up in, then they would die. But until then, they could pretty much keep on going forever and could get better and better at dealing with humans. And like you could even have a scarecrow hanging out in your tavern and stuff that you didn't even realize was a scarecrow because he's so good at mimicking in. And I loved the idea, and with no bones to break, and you don't have to worry about fall damage or anything like that. You just jump off a building, put yourself back together again, and let's go. I absolutely loved the idea. And my Scarecrow is tech based. He's a character I already had, but he's like pieced together out of junk. He's essentially like a living cyborg pile of junk. And so you could pull his arm off or blow his arms off and he could put it back on. And so he fit into the Scarecrow. He fit into that category really well. And so I get to play.
Oh, but I have a bit more demented. Not super dark or demented, but one that is interesting. Just because he also has to fly, right? What if my rendition of the Scarecrow was like a typical Scarecrow? But what if he ended up taking, say, one of these, maybe wherever he's from, there's these giant crows that were out and about, and he actually did his part in actually taking one out. But he Frankensteined it onto his body to the point where now he has like these dark, crow-like wings on his back that allows him the ability to fly.
Cool. Though I thought you were going with the split shell.
I'm currently, since I'm not super bound right now at the moment to my tablet at this moment, I'm kind of also sketching out other ideas. But
okay, yeah.
But obviously, I'm gonna see what I can do here. But if not, we'll see which one works. Because who's to say we were only bound to just do one character concept? What if we did two? What if we managed to sketch out two this entire time?
What if I did that instead of talking the whole time? That'd be crazy.
Bonkers concept, I know. The vision is there. The execution probably might be a little different. Yeah, because I got this guy at the moment being drawn up.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, one of my D&D characters used to be parts of a Scarecrow enemy to make his mechanical familiar. Ooh, fun. If anything, before I kind of start always going at it, rearranging, doing this, that, whatever, I might as well see if I can stick to my guns and actually draw out at least my first concept. Just because I feel like this one feels more akin to a potential like city or something of that nature. I can definitely see it being part of some very intensive steam gauged region and whatnot. So now here we go. All right. See if I can try to draw this. For once, I'm not going to draw a character doing the typical standing symmetrically kind of a thing. This one's actually potentially just going to be an actual posed character. What? It's insane.
That's crazy talk.
Crazy talk from a crazy man. I am your weird Uncle Lee after all. Okay.
He's lost it, people.
Yeah, that's right. I'm currently bonkers. The heat of Florida is currently getting to me. People say, "Oh my God, I can't wait to live in Florida. You get to go visit Disney." Nah. Y'all got to suffer the heat. Okay, it is not what it's cracked up to be. All right, so we at least got the head shape down. Okay, there we go. Feels like he's some weird cyberpunk character, weirdly enough, in this Wonderland adjacent universe. I guess when designing Wonderland, what was your favorite aspect of it?
My favorite aspect is I get to do whatever I want. Boy, there is a big lag in my video. Oh, man, that's jacked up. I'm sorry about that.
No wonder why people think
Anyway, no wonder people think I was AI in the videos I posted because my mouth didn't match up to the words. Go figure. Technical issues. Technically, I can't see myself because I have a camera in front of the TV here so that I'm blocking my face so that I can see everything else that's going on. But anyway, my favorite part about it is that I get to do whatever I want. I get to make sci-fi stuff. I get to add fantasy elements. I get to mix and match. I get to cobble together stuff that looks like it's out of Mad Max and uh, put all that together. Like building the. Have I ever shown you the ship for Captain Hook? Oh, dude, you haven't read issue 2. Oh man,
Hold on,
dude,
Mr. Fish. I can't lose you now. I need you to stick to the script here. We got a whole hero to draw, man.
Okay, I may not get anything drawn today because I'm talking about my book. Alice Lost in Wonderland, issue 3, available now. Go, MrFish.com.
This just became the ultimate promo for your comic, and honestly, we're here for it. We love it, and we're going to continue on. You keep doing your thing there.
All right. This is Hook's ship for
I did see the video
Neverland.
where you talked about scratch building stuff like that.
Yeah, it looks like it would have took forever. It really didn't take that long. I sat there and played around for a couple of hours gluing stuff together and then spray painted it real quick and just threw a quick paint job over it. If I really, really, really had wanted to get fancy, and if it had more straight lines on it than curves, I would have painted the whole thing white and then gone along all the edges with like a black paint pen or something so that it would pop out easier. But the black and gray lets it pop out in pictures well enough, and then I just take pictures of it from every different angle, and then I pick which one I want to use and do it. But like the cannons are magnetic and stuff on it, so I can turn them and have them tilting. I've got movable guns on there. Some of these turrets and stuff turn same way with magnets. This one turns over here, so I can like have the guns turning to follow, whoever's flying away or whatever. And then I draw other stuff on here. Like I didn't want to have to try and sculpt a skull face onto the front of this. So I built this and then I use it as my model. And then I add teeth and stuff to the front of this and make it look kind of like a skull, because Hook, her whole motif is that she has a skull painted on her face. And then she painted on the underside of her pterodactyl's wings that she rides around, and then she plastered it on the front of the ship. And so everything that she does has this skull face painted on it to strike terror into everybody's
your rendition
hearts.
of Hook is a woman, correct?
Yeah. Well, if you've been reading the mini comics, you'll know that she's not the first Hook.
Oh, she's like
but
inspirational.
she. You're gonna find out.
I gotta buy this. That's all.
The first in the mini comics, you meet Captain Ahab, who is like the third generation Ahab, who is flying the skies of Neverland and hunting for the white kaiju that like killed his great grandfather, and they've been hunting this thing for generations, and he's like the third generation out here hunting it down. And in the process, he lost like half his body in a fight to this kaiju and had it replaced with tech. And some of it, one arm is a gigantic gutting hook for when he catches this thing. And his name is technically Captain Ahab, or his name is like Captain Jeremiah quotes, don't call him Hook Ahab, because if you call him Hook, he's going to kill you for it. But everybody calls him Captain Hook. And then somewhere along the lines, something happens, and now there's this girl who is taking his place. And we find out in issue 3 that her and Alice have quite the backstory with each other. And so I'm not going to spoil it from there, but it's juicy and it's hurtful and it's painful and beautiful stuff, beautiful stuff, beautiful stuff. But so I built this thing so I'd have a model to work from. But that's what I was saying. That's what I love about it, is the mix of like trash heap junk and stuff that they have to build tech out of in this world, because they only have what comes through the rift to work with. So, like sometimes that might be the top of a skyscraper, and There might be lots of glass and steel and cool things to work with in there, but there's going to be a lot more office chairs than there's going to be, like artillery and ammunition. So like a lot of their weapons and stuff tend to be older or easier to build from scratch. Like Hook has to use flintlock pistols because those are easier to manufacture and maintain and keep working, even though technically she can't load a muzzle loader pistol by herself, but she's the leader, so she can just shoot a gun, toss it, and make somebody hand her a fresh one. Heavy machine guns are a hard thing to come by in this world, and ammunition and oil and all that stuff to keep it working is difficult to come by. But then you also have like, sentient robots and stuff walking around, and it's a magical, beautiful mix of crazy crap. Like there are tech robots, and then the Tin Man is absolutely 100% clockwork, and everything in between, and pirates and all kinds of interesting stuff. So many comments. Where did we leave off?
Mars Attacks, since Mars Attacks is
So you come and visit Scotland. It's currently 55.4 Fahrenheit, which means you can boil water on your eyebrows, as far as I know. Evil Tech Wizard strikes again. Katie says, that's awesome. And whatever it was, it is. Probably the ship, I'm guessing. Doggone Comics says, I've been working on a cool organization in my comic book universe. It's called stands for Superhuman Training and Rehabilitation. It's like my shield of the universe. Oh, that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
All right, so I'm also kind of getting a sketch down on my character here, but what do we got?
Leader that I haven't thought of a name for, who's like Nick Fury or Cecil Stedman in my universe. Cool. Let's see. Sounds like Fallout style junk cannon would be a handy thing to have there. Absolutely. And that's the fun thing about it, is that's the funnest thing about it to me, is that I can literally do anything with it. And I mean, there are some limitations and stuff. Like I do seriously think through how would they make that work? How would they have gotten their hands on this? Like I was seriously kicking myself the other night as I realized I'd given Hook flintlock pistols and she cannot load them herself. But then I realized, just like a pirate back in the day, she would shoot it and drop it and pull another one, and she's the boss. She's in charge. She doesn't have to load pistols anyway. That's somebody else's job. And so then it all made sense and it was okay in my brain. But for a minute there, I was not cool. Okay. I am nowhere on my design because I've been working the comments and talking and showing off my pirate ships.
Yeah, I gotta get back into that. I remember when I made like one little scratch build thing out of like some leaf tea bottles and stuff like that. I remember it was just like a little spaceship, but honestly, really gotta get into that again. It was always fun creating stuff like that. And I guess for energy projection, I could just go with the idea that it's like a Kamehameha thing over at like a Dragon Ball style situation.
Yeah.
Kind of getting something down here.
That would 100% work.
Maybe instead of giving him like very humanistic eyes, maybe actually go with the idea of making it feel monstrous, because I really never tend to go that route. Probably make it look like voids or anything. That's why he needs to wear like a little monocle thingy. So then that way it's the only one that looks like a proper eye. At least one of my style. Okay. We're getting somewhere.
It's been one of my favorite things about Rabbit as a character that I've had in my head for 30 years that I've been drawing and working on, is I liked the idea of him being a time traveler and basically piecing his stuff together from what he comes across on his journeys and travels. And, sometimes he's in very advanced places where he can buy fancy tech. And other times, he's cobbling together armor out of like old tire treads and stuff. And I like the idea that his outfit is constantly changing and what he carries on him always changes. There's certain things that always stay, like he has a medicine bag around his neck that he always has, and he's usually got a pouch of some kind that he carries extra stuff with him, and he has his digitizer gauntlet almost always because it's like a digital bag of holding, and lets him hold just about anything inorganic. But other than that, everything else on him changes. I've been making my own version of Creature Commandos solely because of
the video that I posted
Esteban.
yesterday. Thank you. Hey, I'm glad you're able to kind of partake in that. Plus, most of those monsters are in the public domain. Those are a ton of fun to dive into. It was, and funnily enough, I stated it in the video, but I actually did have an entire team that I did call just the Legion of Monsters. The Legion of Monsters. Wow, I spazzed out there. But that was like the original idea that I had in mind for it. It was supposed to be like, again, a superhero team, but then looking at it now, like if I had to make it into a comic or a story, I would basically make it as if like Hellboy met up with the actual Creature Commandos in a weird way, and that's how the team would operate, like fighting off supernatural threats and all the crazy forces of like darkness and all that stuff. And if I was to continue the idea that you would follow the son of Dracula, aka Victor, and he would go on this whole journey fighting off all these other darker forces, basically that his father would basically shoot out to him, and all because Victor wants to take his father's position not as the Prince of Darkness but the Prince of Night. So trying to implement the idea that there's that little resentment storyline and all that other kind of fun stuff, and along the way he befriends Frankie, aka Frankenstein's monster. And I know some of y'all would have been like really on me if I just said Frankenstein, just left it at that. And then of course we would have the Invisible Man, who I named Isaac, and we have
Okay, I gotta stop you right there. I heard a joke the other day that I cannot let go of, and I will never again complain about it being Frankenstein's monster, because somebody made the point of, nobody, if you say I have a Monet hanging in my house, nobody's going to say, no, that is a painting by Monet. That's not a Monet. The artwork is synonymous with the artist. You can use their names interchangeably to refer to both of them. And realizing that, calling the monster a Frankenstein is no different than calling this a Picasso or calling it, anything else by the artist's name, a Jackson Pollock, for instance. And so I think that was a really beautiful idea. And then somebody took it too far and was like, well, actually, it's technically only a Frankenstein if it was made in the Frankenstein region of Transylvania. Otherwise, it's just a sparkling homunculus. And I freaking died laughing. But anyway, so from now on, I will never complain about somebody calling it Frankenstein again. And you can use that as a get out of jail free card.
Definitely keep that in mind. But the story, yeah. So if I ever went along with it, you would basically follow Victor. You would then follow Frankie, aka Frankenstein. Then you would follow Isaac, the Invisible Man. And it turns out the Loch Ness Monster, to a degree, is still under Universal Studios copyright. So I decided to use a different, folklore character, which was.
You mean the creature from the Black Lagoon or the Loch Ness Monster?
Creature from the Black Lagoon. Thank you for that. Sorry,
Okay.
That's on me. It was the creature from the Black Lagoon. And funnily enough, I actually met the guy who wore the suit at a Comic-Con once, so that was fun. But I decided to use the Loveland Frogman. The Ohio Loveland Frogman, which is super hysterical because I'm actually going to Loveland, Ohio for Thanksgiving, because that's where my sister-in-law's family lives. So that's going to be a lot of fun. All right. So I got a general concept here. And I don't think I'm going to go with the full colors just because mentally I'm completely just too overheated over here. But I think I got a general idea down. Got something going on here. Trying to show off his flight and his other stuff. Perfect. So here's what I got as of this moment.
Okay, hold on. Let me embiggen you for a second here. The noble spirit embiggens the smallest man.
So here's what I got at the moment. Playing on,
I'm digging
you
it.
know, I'm trying to go a little junky with it. So his brain is still kind of like popping out of his where the water would be, hence the dome, and the telekinesis would actually be enhanced from that. He's a bit of an egghead, in terms of him just being like a smart kind of guy, using the little, energy blast coming from his hands and whatnot, just trying to go off of that. So this is the best that I could do with something like that. I don't know if Alice will ever encounter this kind of character in Wonderland, maybe as a background character, maybe as someone she's like, hey, screw off. Accidentally cracks open his
I'm digging the whole idea of the brain and the water, and like that is a limit. I'm liking that idea.
Yeah, gotta work with it.
Like it's amazing power, but at the same time, it's a horrible weakness.
Maybe it turns out the world that he was from, it turns out that it was very aquatic based and whatnot. And, he was just able to do his own thing. It's just that his brain kept a little, floating around everywhere. They probably kept a little dome over their heads just so their brain wouldn't keep getting, so far detached. But then somehow the rift opened up, and then he was now stuck within the realms of Oz, Wonderland, whatever others call it.
I have a character that a friend gave me. It's the first time that's ever happened. But he had this character that he had came up with when he was a kid of Waterman, and he had like a handful of ideas for Waterman, and he asked me if I would draw it for him. And he was a good kid and he'd help me out a lot. So like, yeah, I'll draw your character for you. And I drew it up the way he wanted it. And then I was kind of inspired, so I started drawing up some other versions of it and ended up coming up with a version that I really liked. And he loved it. I was like, man, you can absolutely have the character. You can do whatever you want to with it. I'm never going to do anything with it. So you can just have it. And I've never done anything with it. I've used him in role playing games before, but I like the idea that I came up with for him in the role playing game so much. I want to use it. And he would kind of fit in Alice's world really well, except for the fact he's a straight up superhero. Like he's straight up like designed to look like a superhero. And I don't know, for some reason trying to get that out of my brain and think of him another way is tough. I don't know if you ever have that problem, but like for all my creativity, sometimes I get myself in like a stuck in, well, that's not the way it's supposed to be. It's all made up. None of it's real. But
like, is it like I think it's probably like a genre clash because, Alice Lost in Wonderland is supposed to be this cracked out, universe with all these crazy, things. So there is no such thing as like a proper level of like order. But then, you have this superhero guy who's literally properly made to wear a superhero suit. And he's like the cleanest thing in all of Wonderland. So it doesn't really fit the aesthetics or the vibes. Because I was actually going to joke around being like, what if the Unbeatables made a bit of a crossover in the realms of Alice Lost in Wonderland? Like you just...
Yeah, I mean, and that's the nice thing about Alice is she can go anywhere. And so like doing crossovers and stuff is actually really easy for her because she can just cut a hole in the air and go to another dimension. But she doesn't have as good a control over it as Rabbit does because she's only got half of the sword where he has the whole sword. But still she can go wherever she wants to go pretty much. But she doesn't travel time quite as much as he does because it's a lot harder and there's a lot of things to have to keep in mind. And we're going to delve into that in a later book where he's explaining to her, like close-up time travel is easy. Like going 5 minutes in the future or 10 minutes into the past is easy. Time traveling on the same world within like, a month or so isn't too bad. But once you start like trying to travel great distances and travel time at the same time, like he's like, if we travel in time 1 year on this planet, if the planet's big enough, the gravity pull of this planet will keep us from wandering off too far when we travel time, and we'll probably still end up on the surface of the planet. But if I'm trying to travel to another solar system and travel 10 years in the past, where was the planet at that point 10 years in the past in its circle around the sun? Where was its sun in the circle around its galaxy? Where was its galaxy in the expanse of the universe? Like there's so many variables to try and hit. It's like trying to hit, an aspirin with an arrow from a mile away in a hurricane. Like, you're not going to do it unless you really know what you're doing. But up close, not as hard. And so she's scared to try it and go too far because she's seen things can go really bad with that. And I love that. I love that explanation. I can't wait to get to use that and have him explain it to her. And he'll often take advantage of things like, like Bill and Ted did with like, well, all we got to do is remember to come back and leave something here where it won't get messed with, and then reach behind that pipe and, oh, there's what you were looking for. But for him, it's not that hard. He's been doing this his whole life for hundreds of years. He's better at it. And again, he has the whole sword, and Alice does not. Alice's sword is broken for some reason, and which will get explained at some point, but I'm not telling you now. I've given away too many secrets as is.
And then here I am just trying to get my book more proper and on the go. And I can't wait to dive into a couple stories in my little superhero universe. Like, for instance, getting to touch on the character of the Emerald Turtle and how he's somehow an unintentional war criminal in his homeland because he discovered something he wasn't supposed to know, and how it ties into one of the other characters.
Yeah, quote, unintentional. I heard what the great leader said about that, and unintentional is a bunch of lies. You're trying to fool us all with your propaganda.
I swear I wasn't part of this. I just found out that I'm not going to say it. But also some other stories I can't wait to dive into as well. Getting to tap into Rocket Fist's story, as him being a former supervillain and now having to work his way around being a hero and trying to break some old habits. That part I always can't wait for. And of course, the one thing that my fiance and most of my friends are just like foaming at the mouth for is, of course, the romance, the love interest stuff, because they love that kind of stuff, and I'm a sucker for it too.
Because she's a girl.
Hey, listen, I am equally just as much of a sucker for it. Okay, I fall victim to fame.
Don't you call my fiance a girl?
Yeah. And if you couldn't tell, I mean, Mr. Fish has the first book, but a canonical thing that may or may not be the case is definitely one of my characters, two characters getting hitched later down the road. Who knows who those characters can be? Mr. Fish might know who they are. But it's been a while since he's probably read my books. I mean, I don't blame him if you don't remember.
Oh, no. I've read them. I was looking at the comments.
Your favorite super movie so far?
Uh-oh. Katie says she can't hear us. Can anybody else hear us? Let me check the settings. It could just be her. Let me check audio. La. Yeah, it's showing up over there. I can hear you and you can hear me. So
either I'm delusional or I'm crazy or both. What's the
vibes, Uncle E, Mr. Fish?
What's the vibe? The vibe is vibing. Keep him as a superhero and that ended up lost in that universe. That would be hilarious. Talk about your Waterman character and how we chuck him into the whole thing there. That I feel like can be a whole unbalancing.
So it become dirtier and less superhero looking as costume gets destroyed from battles. I like that. Dadpool says he can hear us. I do like slow burn, genuine love stories. Yeah.
Copy.
Jordan can hear it. Rodrigo asks, what's your favorite superhero movie so far? And I got a comment because I just got dragged into a online argument that I should have made a video for, but I didn't because I've been busy drawing Alice Lost in Wonderland. But I argue that the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies are some of the like top 10 superhero movies of all time. I think it definitely deserves to be in the top 10, mainly because I think it is one of the most faithful adaptations from the comic book to the screen. And I know it's not exactly like the original black and white comics, and it's not exactly like the cartoons either. That's one of the things I think it did beautifully is it blended the very different vibes of the comic book and the cartoons and real life movie making and made the best rendition I think you could possibly have made of such a ridiculous concept. And they did it practically with real effects and real people in suits that really looked good. And the movie is still fun to watch to this day. I I still enjoy, and it's not just the nostalgia factor because like I loved He-Man like like I've loved no other man. I freaking loved He-Man as a kid. I cannot watch the original He-Man cartoons anymore because they just make me want to claw my eyeballs out. They inspired my imagination as a kid, but they are absolute pap and drivel to try and listen to and watch now. I cannot take it. Where other things like Thundercats is not great art. It's not Shakespeare. Shakespeare wasn't Shakespeare. Shakespeare was a bunch of dirty jokes for, working class folks to have fun and blow off some steam. It was the Marvel movies of the time or the Big Mama's house of the time. But, it's held on for years. I'm not holding it up there as great cinema or anything, but Thundercats holds up. I can still watch Thundercats and enjoy it. I cannot do that with He-Man. I don't have rose-colored glasses when it just comes to nostalgia stuff, but I can still thoroughly enjoy. I still rock out to the Ninja Turtle theme songs from the movies on my playlist every day. They're fun. They're not trying to be something that they're not. They're not trying to be super gritty, realistic. They are 100%, a story about Ninja Turtles in New York. And I think it was beautifully, wonderfully, lovingly done. And I think Fantastic Four is one of the first movies to come along to beat it in a faithful, honest interpretation of, comic book to screen adaptation. And I stand behind that. Call me crazy. Call me the sexiest man alive. I'll take it. But that's where I stand.
Interesting.
Everybody in the comments agrees with me 100%. Doggone Comics says, Mr. Fish is the smartest man I've ever seen. I love him so much. I wish I could grow up to be just like him. And let's see. Mark the Shark says, Mr. Fish is cool. I wish I could be more like him. Every day I go to sleep hoping I'll wake up more like him. And I wake up a little grayer, and it makes me a little happier. One day my beard will come in, and I'll be just like him. Well, good for you, Mark the Shark.
Okay.
Let's see.
All right.
Deadpool says, Mr. Fish is what sexy wants to be when it grows up. I appreciate that, Deadpool. Thank you very much.
Oh, man.
Deadpool also says he just posted his character Pepper as a anti character. I don't know if it's the hero or the villain to his character Salt that he posted earlier or that he made earlier. I don't know that I've seen that.
I tell you, by the time I get that AC hitting me, I'm going to be in heaven. All right. Back to the trip to the garage. Also, arcade machine. Gotta love these suckers right over here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, my dad just bought that randomly just because, and I'm like, wow, my dad can also make impulse purchases. This is strange.
And now we know why the power went out.
I wish that was the case. This would have been a whole different situation.
It was an 80s arcade cabinet that blew the power.
I know. I still have to get it quarters. No. Oh, thank God. Air conditioning. Oh, dear Lord, I really needed that. Okay, back in action, people. Okay, so I've actually kind of done a really, really rough concept. I mean, this is not my cleanest line art, but that is honestly okay. And also, I'm kind of digging it. It's kind of growing on me. There we go. I can see it's being like some, again, I'm trying to make it look trashy and again, a little patchworky. There we go. So, there we go. We're just going to do some little things like that. There we go. So we officially kind of got the more cleaned up line art. Still sketchy, but honestly, I still like the way this kind of came out. In terms of
There we go.
In terms of how it kind of came out. Still a little nifty there.
Yeah. It's looking. We need to get somebody in here to help us out and do the production side of thing and work the comments and stuff, because
drawing and maintaining comments is too much. It's a lot.
Man, I'm telling you. And I don't want to leave anybody's comments out, but I also can't catch them all. Let's see. Dragon Gaming said TNT had a crossover with the Lightspeed Rescue Power
I
Launcher.
would not.
And Fish is sexy as all get out. Well, thank you, Dragon Gaming. Jordan says, I like James Gunn's Superman, and Fish is the sexiest man alive. Well, thank you, Jordan. Doggone Comics says, what do you think of the Invincible TV show? I love it. I think it's absolutely brilliant. And I love the way it really delves into the reality of what it would be like to be a superhero in a world without having to go like the boys route and be super nasty about it. I mean, like, people die and get splattered, but like, it shows the gravity of it and shows how hard it weighs on him and how every failure weighs on him without having to be, I hate superheroes kind of vibe to it. Dadpool says, Salt is a character I posted on my Insta and YouTube for the sexiest man alive, comma, on Fish, comma, to see. Well, thank you. I'll have to go check a look at that. Drigo says, so I've seen the characters on Commons character copyrights on Wikipedia Commons, like the Martians from Mars Attack and the Spirit.
Not necessarily. Those sketches look great. Thank you so
Those
much.
sketches look great. Thank you very much.
I will admit, this is actually this in terms of sketching was very interesting. I think this is the first time on Roll for Hero where I go from sketchbook to then going from to the iPad, and for once not doing where I kind of draw the character symmetrically, just kind of standing. But it is what it is. There, Brad Pitt ain't got nothing. It's like Brad Pitt ain't got nothing on Mr. Fish. Says Mark the Shark.
I'm saying Brad Pitt knows where it goes. I appreciate that. Doggone is asking who our favorite character from Invincible is. Mine would have to be, I mean, he's dead already, but mine would be the Speedster, because I don't remember what his name was, but the Russian Speedster dude.
Red Rush.
I loved him because, like, the whole thing of, like, do you have any idea how mind-numbingly boring it is for me to sit here with you having a conversation, listening to you go in slow motion because his brain's running at 500 miles an hour? That is something that I think nobody really pays enough attention to or touches on enough with speedsters. I think the whole Speed Force thing in DC is too easy of a cop-out. I would much rather see them having to suffer through like the world's worst case of ADHD, just the whole world is moving far too slow, I think is much more interesting for a character than just like, yeah, I can magically go fast and there's no consequences to it. Like my whole thing is like just to be able to see where you're going, your brain would have to work so fast and so hard that everything else would just be mind numbing to have to sit through. Oh, I forgot the tail.
Oh, yeah. And then I'm just going to do some rough. This is going to be like the roughest of like the rough sketches I think I've ever done on Roll for Hero thus far. And that's actually kind of saying something because I'm always a perfectionist with my mindset and the way that I draw.
Well, you've also decided to go ahead and voluntarily add the, the how much suffering can you take in a hot room aspect, fear factor version of it up too.
This is also a true statement. And this is where being a Floridian kind of not be fun.
Yeah.
People think, oh my God.
Oh, I got to tell you, as an Arkansan, if my AC was out, I would not be here doing this show. I guarantee you that.
I can only if anything, I can comprehend and very much understand.
I would probably be in the ER somewhere.
Anywho's, so now I'm kind of getting onto this portion. After this, I'm heading straight to the fiancés, who is obviously the best part of all of the Roll for Hero shows.
Yep. The whole reason we do it.
Really got to get my other friends onto this. Also, you can show your screen off because I'm currently yapping and talking. I don't think I'm really going to contribute over here. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind showing my face off, but I mean, I think the art piece over here matters a lot more. I mean, also your face too. I mean, let's be honest. You're the peak form of like physical,
I'm saying,
masculinity.
1999 People Magazine, sexiest man alive. I love going on Foretales podcast on the Agents of Geekdom Network because they send out this questionnaire ahead of time, and they're my friends, so they know all the answers to this stuff, like what's my name, how is it pronounced, all this stuff, all good stuff to ask of new guests that you haven't worked with before. How do you want to be introduced? Things like that. All great stuff. Well done, well thought out. Great questionnaire for new people. We're friends. I've been on that show a whole bunch of times. I text Kyron more than I text my wife because one day he decided to send me a stupid meme, and I was like, "Oh, you want to play? We'll play." And I now just my whole Instagram feed is just ridiculous nonsense because I send him so much ridiculous nonsense. They think that's what I want to see all day. And not for nothing, it's kind of funny because I just turn around and send it to Kyron. But anyway, they give me this questionnaire every time. And they're like, what's your name? How do you pronounce it? How do you want to be introduced? And I love doing it because I know Kyron will read whatever I put on there. So I always get introduced as like what was it? The Lord High Master Grand Potentate was my moniker one time when I got introduced. And last time was People Magazine's 1999 Sexiest Man Alive. And I love putting that stuff in there because I know he'll read it, and it's so much fun to me. Let's see. Doggone says my favorite heroes are Ruby Rex and Title Card. And let's see. Dragon Gaming said Red Rush's flaw is extremely interesting because I feel like it's something a speedster can mentally work on, slow down their mind because they can process information so fast. I don't know. I mean, maybe, but it's one of the things I've struggled with my whole life is trying to get my brain to slow down fast enough to deal with everybody else. And it's mind-numbing just the way mine does. Could you guys do a stretchy hero?
Ooh.
We absolutely could.
Honestly,
that's the kind of thing that needs to be suggested as a power to get added to the next set of powers.
And now it has been suggested, and we have to add it into the powers. I mean, it's not like I just wrote up an entire series of different lists over here that I, may or may not would like to utilize for the next batch of Roll for Hero suggestions. I mean, what am I, insane? Don't answer that. Anyways, I may be crazy, but I'm not a lunatic. I think. I haven't bugged the fiance yet, so I'm not fully sure on that part. There we go. Probably just do. Ooh, there we go. All right, so I'm hoping that these colors work well together. This is why I'm not the colorist. This is why I stopped coloring my comics, just because I know that I'm not good at color coordination. I know it's all time and practice.
Don't say so, sure.
I understand it's time and practice once you get your whole comics and whatnot and all that other fun doohickey and nonsense, but that's why I prefer to do things in black and white. It's easier to draw and also easier to pump out, which means,
Oh, man.
comic pages are always a blast and a half to pump out there, like with the Unbeatables, which you should totally go check out on Webtoons as of this moment. Posting one page every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Get to see 6 superpowered.
That is a
Watch it.
gutsy.
Pop out and become the world's greatest heroes after the world lost the Ultra 5, the world's greatest team of heroes. Gone by a mysterious threat.
That is a gutsy schedule to keep up with.
Well, thankfully, I had a lot of pages made beforehand, so getting to pump those out was actually very nice. So I actually have up until November 19th to kind of catch up. So.
Oh, you mean up until tomorrow? Because that's what it's going to feel like when it gets
Exactly.
here.
That's why I've been this morning I was working on like page 26, if I'm incorrect, where I'm just going to now introduce, there's a little banter back and forth between some of the characters. Because one of them goes, let me see, and the power went down again. Great. We just love being in a hot room. I love acting like bacon, just being in the oven, dying. Anywho's but in the comic thus far, I actually have some of the characters interacting. They're fighting off giant robots because that's always a cool thing in comics. Uncle Lee, will you cover your characters from Unbeatables on your channel? Abso-friggin-lutely, I will. I really want to talk about my comics because that's actually the main reason why I even made the channel. I did it obviously because I want to talk more comics, nerd stuff, and all that other kind of fun stuff in between. But of course, I want to talk about my comic books primarily. So yes, I did kind of do a video for one of the characters, which was actually like my public domain Green Ranger, because theoretically, the character in my book, the Emerald Turtle, is based off the Green Turtle, who is a Chinese-made character. It was a really interesting thing to learn about. So I took that character and made it a Chinese-based Power Ranger. So I actually made a whole video talking about his whole situation. So if you kind of want to get a gist of what he's been learning or like what happened in his situation, why he's joined this cracked out team of 6 superpowered heroes in the state of Florida of all places, and you might want to go check out that video on my channel. It's a lot of fun. It was a ton of fun putting together. But
I didn't realize they were in Florida.
Well, gee, I wonder why. But yeah, I always wanted to have like one of the main stories happen in my home state because I think that would be nifty. But one of my favorite little back and forth banter moments, it goes like, "Oh, I don't think you can boss me around just because you know my real name. You're literally the only one fast enough to do the job. You think I was gonna trust the guy dressed as a turtle? On the account that you saved my life, I will let that joke slide for now. You guys really need to joke at a time like this? I swear, if my cybernetic signals weren't so scrambled right now, I would shoot my fist in your face on purpose." And that's just some of the slight banter you can end up watching or reading once we get to that point in time of the book. Whew. Gotta love it. Got to love it.
I love the banter and the talking and the jokes and the comebacks and things like that's one place where I will occasionally tweak TS's script because I'm like, I've got this one little bit that like I know about the character Alice that maybe he doesn't, and I'm like, I think in this place she would do this, and and I'll tell TS about it and let him know what I'm doing, and I will totally listen if he thinks that there is a legitimate reason that it needs to not be that way because he's setting up for something particular or like I can't explain why, so I'm not going to go any further on that. But we talked about something just the other day, and I thought we needed to change it because what happened didn't make sense. And he was like, "No, that's the point." And then when he explained to me what he was thinking, I was like, "Oh, okay," because it totally seemed like she just did that, and that seems stupid to me. But if that's why you had her doing it, okay, that makes more sense to me now, and that gave me more information to play up in faces and stuff to show everybody else having the reaction like, I can't believe she just did that. And that was the purpose, was to make everybody feel that way. And so in that case, it worked. But anyway, I don't know where I was going. I got off track.
Hobby sometimes. And now we're getting to the fun stuff, because now I decided that his telekinesis derives from some of the crystals that may have been shot off from the Emerald City. Hence why he has that. And he's maybe like, he's an experiment. So, I mean, who's to say that he didn't experiment on himself in the process? Hence why he has the ability to have telekinesis and, or, actually using, that energy projection because of the crystals. That might be not just the Emerald City itself, but what if there are other, crystals that had effects on it? I just still made them green because why? Actually, let me make those red because, helps a stark contrast from all the green over here. Ooh.
Don't want to do this guy green too, but for some reason I feel like he needs to be green. I don't know why.
We got to do the energy blast because energy blast be blasting up with some fun energy.
Energy blast be blasting like energy blast be blasting.
Exactly. There we go. And then probably just going to add a touch of smaller white one there. And then add actual color of white. Blend that in like so. Nifty. There we go. Perfect. And actually, that's not bad. Swear after this, I'm going to take the world's greatest shower and hoping that the power doesn't get cut off when I cool down. Because Lord knows I really need to cool off.
See, I don't like that.
There we go. And then we gotta draw this portion over here. There we go. Oh, look at that. And we're just gonna do a quick little blur effect to show off that. Okay, this is actually not bad. It's not half bad. I actually will admit to that. That ain't that bad. Maybe I probably should do more. Just go a little thinner. Supposed to kind of act like bumblebee wings, or just wings that are too fast, so you can't really perceive it.
Okay, so now I just need to change all those colors.
And and that is to you. Perfect. Boom, boom, boom. Sent.
All right. I know people have probably been making comments, and I apologize.
Okay. Your character resembles you. Hold on a second. Yes, about the thing with the unbeatables. Mr. Fish, you are the sexiest man alive. Your character resembles you. The character that I guess you're drawing is the one, I guess, it resembles you to a degree.
Yeah, sexy is as sexy does. That's what my mom always said.
Wise words. And to answer that one, Rodrigo, no. I will be pursuing other things other than just PD adjacent content. Just because I feel like I've been doing a lot of that, but not focusing on my own stuff. So I think, moving on, I'm just going to do generic, redesigns of some like average things in the realms of the public domain, from fairy tales to potentially some other characters. But I'm just going to stick to just, ones to talk about my comics, actually do my own thing. But if you do want to see some fun public domain adjacent content, you should totally follow Brooke over at PD Hero Comics, where she does amazing art renditions, awesome concepts of taking characters from the golden age and making it brand spanking new. I highly recommend you go check her out. She is actually worthwhile. Me and her have done a bunch of drawing challenges. Actually, on November, we are actually going to be doing another drawing challenge to an extent. So that's, it's going to be a lot of fun getting to see how that all works out and whatnot. But that's a side point. Loving to see what I got there. I also sent you the characters, so obviously take your time, do your thing. I already kind of got my character concept down, so I'm good. I'm on my end over here.
I appreciate it because I have not been able to get my stuff done, and I need to get it finished because I'm kind of liking it. I'm probably gonna change it, but I'm liking the basics of it where it's at.
Ooh, you know what? Mark the Shark asked a really good question here. Are there plans for the both of you on doing a book together? Long story short, we would love to, but we have way too many factors in our own lives to have that ever happen. Just because, Mr. Fish is working on not just Alice Lost in Wonderland, but of course the Green Zone, Team Man and Hyper Strike, and all these awesome other stories that he happens to have, done. At least that's just his own stuff. And then he's also have to do client work. For me, I would love to work with him on some stuff here and there. I mean, so far, my favorite stuff at the moment was a lot of the steampunk adjacent characters that we've been drawing up and whatnot, creating an entire steampunk universe. I would love to dive into that. Heck, when we even managed to roll up the public domain character of the American Eagle, like he ended up drawing this awesome character. Like his design was awesome. Getting to draw out Medusa was a ton of fun.
Yeah, I would really like to at some point. It's just really just finding the time is the only
Pretty
problem.
much.
Good.
And I mean, personally, for me, I would try my best to. Obviously, I would tend to go the webcomic route just because I want to try to get it in your hand, like to y'all's hands, as quickly and efficiently as possible. And if it obtains higher viewership, if it gets the attention that it rightfully deserves, then yeah, by every metric, obviously I would go by the, just getting it into your hands as an actual physical copy, which is actually my plans right now for the Unbeatables. If you guys go check out the Unbeatables webtoons and you give it the hype and the love that it deserves, obviously, I'll take all the pages once I'm done, compiling this specific amount, and I'll chuck out a whole volume 1. Then I'm gonna get onto a whole volume 2. So you're gonna have to be a little patient with me on that because I am doing about 3 pages a week, which again may seem like a long time, but depending on how fast a week goes, I really got to catch up on a lot of those other, pages and whatnot. So it's also a good motivating factor because I've had these pages on standby for a while and I really didn't know what to do with it. So yeah, oof, man, it is a scorcher in here. I probably smell like
Yeah, it
onions.
makes you have to get it done. I mean, it makes you do something with it, which is better than doing nothing with it.
Exactly. And for me, it would have been a longer time if I was to, personally for me, if I was to hold on to the pages and wait until I finished the whole book. I didn't want that to be the case because I really wanted this to be out and about as quickly as I possibly can. But yeah, so The Unbeatables is definitely one book that I really want to dive more into. Thankfully, I have the opportunity to do that. I have some awesome stories to dive into, specifically with at least 3 of the other characters, obviously outside of my main character, Powerful. There's also, tapping into Emerald Turtle's story, Blue Angel's story, Rocket Fist in particular, and then also I really need to work up some concepts for, Buggy, or Honeybee is what she's now known as, and Boost. So I really got to work with those ideas and to see where I can take them and to hopefully have like a definitive story for them, so we can dive into their arcs. Y'all could do a future show making pages per show with commentary from the chat, guiding it with suggestions.
That's a good idea. Like I had honestly thought about the idea of doing like doing like an Ashcan mini comic that we could just do a black and white one like a manga that we could print up at home and ship out to anybody that wanted a copy, and we could post it online or whatever for people to download, but just make something quick and easy. But that would be a fun thing to be able to let people hang out while we were working on it.
Oh my
and
God.
do make comments and stuff of what may happen and which way the story may go. That would be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. I mean, especially like if we did like maybe we rolled up characters, and then depending on like maybe we do 4 different characters that we will roll up. We'll have y'all suggest which one we should even utilize as the main character, and then we follow that character's entire perspective throughout the entire mini comic, or better yet, death battle style. We just take a character that we ended up making just randomly, and then we make another character, and then we just make them fight each other, and then that's just like the singular little book right then and there. I mean, I'm always for that. That was always a lot of fun. Like. So, these are just really interesting concepts and ideas. There's a lot of potential here, especially all because we just let the dice dictate what we draw. Dragon Gaming 459 says you guys should do Halloween characters on your Wednesday 29th live stream. That's actually not a bad idea. I actually like that idea. Getting to draw like our renditions of like classic monsters, but we put them in a different setting. We put them in a different style. You know, like Dracula in the 29th century, or we have Frankenstein being from like it turns out he's actually an alien from outer space or something like that. Or we take the Mummy and to be a fashion designer. We don't know.
That would be cool. That would be a lot of fun. I'd be hard pressed to not want to do one of like two characters for that, because you grew up with the name Fish. You end up obviously one of the monsters is your favorite over the others, but also when you're bigger than everybody else and kind of linking around and stomping everywhere you go, Frankenstein's a close second.
Or we can
what do you think of my character here? I don't have a name for her yet, but I like the idea of her having this, fluffy little yokai that goes around with her. And as long as they can stay in sync, then she can have all this strength and, be able to do amazing feats. But if she doesn't keep him happy, or if something else makes him mad or miffed, he could just disappear and, take off. And now she's just a chick, left with an avenging army coming to take over the town that she just took money to protect or whatever.
Jordan, Deadpool says, please do a Jack-o'-lantern one. That's actually not a bad idea. I would love to.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Then Jordan asks, have you ever thought about bringing Brooke from PD Hero Comics to roll for Hero? Absolutely. I actually even asked her before. She is not as camera ready, if you will. She's very much I till this day have no idea what she looks like. So she's very much.
I mean, nothing says she has to come on camera. I'm blessed to be incredibly sexy. If I was any sexier, I couldn't be on camera. That's part of where the lag comes from. It's just so much sexiness for the camera process.
Sexiness levels, like the cameras can't really fully envelop the pure, raw, masculine, like sexy energy.
I don't have any lights on in this room. You think I've got good lighting? I'm just radiating beauty. That's what it is. If I had lights on in here, everything would get washed out. You wouldn't be able to see anything. So if I was any sexier, I'd have to be voice only, which I may be if it continues having this lag and people keep accusing me of being AI, because I ain't. But anyhow. Nothing says she has to come on and show her face. You could just show her page, and we could do that.
Yeah, and we get to go from there. I mean, she's a fantastic artist, does amazing renditions of classic characters from the Golden Age.
You missed it all, man. We literally just gave away $50,000. I thought for sure you were going to be the one to win it because you've been commenting so much, but then all of a sudden you were gone, and now Dad pulls $50,000 richer. But I'm glad to have you back. And we're going to be giving away this dice next. So, stay tuned and don't miss it.
Well, anyways, I love your character design too. Just getting to see like that green radiant energy flowing from her and like the little yokai diving into that. Once you said yokai, I just instantly thought of the Kappa, and I had to do my little concept of that. Mm-hmm. That's a really awesome design too. Just getting to see how that all functions. Seeing how that all works together.
I have another idea for a story that I've been working on the back of my head for a while. I just haven't quite 100% cracked it, but it's essentially like if you mixed like Digimon with symbiotes, and there's all these different creatures, and they all. Yes, doggone, you missed everything. You missed it all. There's so much, and you're gonna have to go back and watch the entire thing from the beginning again just to see what you missed.
Make sure to check it out on my channel as well as Mr. Fish's channel, because it turns out
Absolutely.
this
You probably should watch it again on both channels 2 or 3 times to make sure that you don't miss anything, because Esteban's got special little secrets on his channel you're only going to see, and I've got special little doodads over here you're only going to see. So you probably should watch it several times on both until you catch all the little differences.
Exactly.
And come back to me with your list of the 12 things that are different between our.
Honestly, at this point, given the amount of craziness,
single-handedly boost our engagement by God.
Here's the thing: I don't know how this is going to be streamed on my channel, just because I had to go on a completely different account. So this is actually going to be a whole different ballgame and then some. So that's actually good to keep in mind, because I think this might be more on your channel than probably mine. Who knows? But whatchamacallit, other than that though, so this is your character design. I don't even have a name for my character either, just because we were just going off of that.
I kind of had a like pro wrestler vibe going, in my head of, she's got herself marked up with these tats and stuff to help. It's like the symbol of her yokai to try and, help channel it, and the bands help her channel the power. But still, if the yokai says, no, I'm not playing, then it's all over with. But my Digimon idea. I'm sorry, I didn't get to finish my idea. The idea is that you would be training up these Pokemon type things, and you would have to bond with them. You would have to earn their trust and then train with them. But when you did, if you bond with them properly, then when it comes time for action, they can evolve into different forms, but they also can bond with you. So, not only would they be evolving, into Super Charizard or whatever, but they would be bonding with you, and your abilities and skills and will and your natural giftings would get fused into that as well. So, like, if me and Esteban both separately had bonded with the same creature, we would come up as 2 different beings in the end, for the fight. And then you would fight as one thing, and then when the fight's over, you would separate again. And you could have more than 1 or 2 that you're training, but you couldn't really care for more than 2 or 3 well, but then you would have some people that have whole cages and packs full of animals that they've trained, like, caged tigers and stuff that are there and they're trained, but they're willing to bite back at any moment, and they're not happy. And those transformations would not be happy transformations. And then, and get to see the difference between, like, the way different people approach their pets, and like how some of that can be toxic, and, but a happy, well-rounded relationship could lead to great, awesome transformations, and, greater than the sum of their parts, I think would be a fun story. And, maybe teach kids a little bit of empathy too in the process, maybe. But
you're on to something, Mr.
Oh man, see, there you go. They did it for me. Humans and Digimon fused to evolve. There you go. They beat me to the
funnily
punch.
enough, there's actually another creator here on YouTube, Popcross Studios. Another person, honestly, I would love for him to partake in being in this show. He would be a ton of fun. But he did something similar. He did like this anthology story of like these people that live in this world where superpower people work in this awesome, competition, whatever. And he has like these monsters that if you create a proper bond with them, I kid you not, it's almost like verbatim. I'll send you the video later, but you can somehow apprehend like a trait from one of the little monsters. Like, for instance, one of the kids, ends up having a bond with this one crystal monster, and his whole arm just now becomes like crazy rocked out like crystal looking thing. But then some other people can get just like the lower half of the legs, or something like that. So I can kind of see where you're coming from with the bonding aspect. But for me, I'm thinking like, if it's like knowing the way that you design creatures plus the bond of like some the way that you design creatures and the bond of the person with the animal, that I can see you turning those things into some gnarly awesome like full-blown monster designs. Hearing more details, I do like the different angles you have, and it's very interesting. Same. Obviously, would you like to show off at least what I ended up sending you, so that way people?
Oh yeah. Let me find the right button on all the screens here. turn my screen back on. Skadoosh, there we go.
There we go. So that is as rough as I can get. I have no idea what this character's name is. So fun little things about him. I actually like the little jagged rubies that I put like in his little headphones. Maybe that's the reason why he has more like enhanced telekinesis or something like that. The little dome over his brain, kind of showing that off. Diving into the Kappa aspect of it. His turtle shell opening up like a ladybug shell, and having like the wings flapping around was a really fun detail to add in.
I love that idea. I'm probably going to steal that idea.
Honestly,
just
dude, I'm not even joking when I say this. If you make him a background character in Alice Lost in Wonderland, that is as much of my best contribution to your comic by all means. Send me a penny in royalty. That's fine. Like I'm good. As long as I get to see him in the background or a potential like get out of the way and smack him across the face, then I'm okay with that.
I love the shell opening up into the wings. That's a great like misdirect. Wouldn't expect it. I absolutely love that idea.
And it dives into the fact that he was like a genetic creation and he's not like a normal creature, as many of the creatures in the Rift aren't normal to any degree. So Russ, we call him Dadpool. That you're onto something. We call this sucker Russ right over here. Hey, listen here, my name's Russ. I'm from this part of the Rift, okay? Listen, I ended up dealing with a few people with the crystal cities and such. I ended up using some of these rubies here. That's why I got some more enhanced telekinetics. My brain looks small, but I got a big idea coming up. And to see all that kind of work up. What's it called? That's actually not a bad idea. What do you guys think about the superhero, the Tick? He's hilarious.
Spoon!
I wanted to say that first. How dare you? But yes, I love the Tick. I love the Amazon Prime show. I think that he was a part of too. It was. I wish they continued that because I think they were going to dive into like who the Tick really was. Love the turtle shell wing, Uncle E. It adds a nice touch. Honestly, I was gonna go for a whole idea that it would actually expand into actual like bird or angelic mechanicalized wings that would eventually transform back into the shape of a turtle shell, but that would be too much for me to draw. So the ladybug element was definitely a more easier way to go.
Well, and then you got to draw that over and over and over again. And
that
takes a lot of the fun out of it.
Oh yeah, it totally does. But honestly,
I designed this really cool sky cycle for the cover of issue 3, and we knew what was going to happen in issue 3, but I hadn't drawn any of the issue yet. But I needed to have a cover for the pre-launch page long before the campaign launched. So we knew there was going to be a sky chase scene. So I drew this really cool sky bike that has this 50s Cadillac vibe to it, like World War II plane, tiger fight kind of plane vibe to it. It's like a cross between, like an old Rolls Royce and a motorcycle and a fighter, dogfight plane, and is really cool looking. I did not think how complex I made it, and it seems relatively simple until you have to draw this thing 1,000 times from 1,000 different angles, and it has to have the Gatling guns going in perspective in all these different angles. And there's all these little tubes in the Gatling guns that I didn't think about. And the grill has these neat little curved lines in the radiator grill, but then those have to be at the right angle and the right curve to look right in perspective. And I made it chrome, so we have to make that look shiny every time we get all these little lines to match up and not look tacky. And I made it much harder than it needed to be. And then just offhanded, I drew these rockets in the background. These guys just riding rockets like what's her name? Rocket whatever from Batman the Animated Series. It's kind of like that, just like literally like strapped on a rocket riding it. And I was like, oh my God, these things are beautiful. I love them. And they're so easy to draw. I can draw it in like 3 minutes. I was like, why didn't I just put everybody on that and they could be flying cigars through the sky instead of these freaking convoluted things?
Because honestly, you're going to look back on it and you're going to be like, oh, I love the way that this came out.
Oh, they look so cool, though. They do look awesome. And they do not look like they would fly. Like, it looks like a cross between like a Rolls Royce and a tractor and a fighter plane from World War II.
Oh my god, that sounds interesting. Actually, I always want. So, funnily enough, too, I haven't done any like vehicles yet, which is why, like, once I dive into the Emerald Turtle story for the Unbeatables, I have to draw the fact that he has to be in a mechanized, like, being how he's part of a Power Rangers team, he has like a mech of like a turtle adjacent, thing that's a part of a giant robot, or it could be its own thing. And I totally
Yeah.
forgot that I have to draw that at some point, and I have to figure out the mechanics of that. And
Oh yeah, and you got to figure out how do they work together and all this
like
stuff.
supposed to be like a mechanized turtle that could also turn into a car that can also be like its own transforming robot. So I kind of done goofed on myself on that, now that I said it. But I mean, look at that. That is a beaut of a concept there.
Yeah, and it's absolutely beautiful on this page until you have to draw it from 100 different angles, and you got to get the headlights in perspective, and you got to get the curves in the radiator. And these little teeth on the bumper have been a royal pain in my butt to do from all these different angles. And I wish I had never made it that complicated. And
If you ever did do anything like that, make sure to probably, make some fun, kit bash models. Turtletron. Actually, that's not too far off from the realms of possibility. That's
Yep.
actually what I liked when you mentioned about the what's it called, the Captain Hook's ship for Alice Lost in Wonderland, how you're able to kit bash all of that. Because for me, I still have like a batch of some Legos left over, and a part of me would actually want to probably build something with those, so then I can be like,
I did
maybe.
that for a space station that will show up later in the book, and I have all the parts in a bag, and I took a whole bunch of pictures of it from a bunch of different angles, and I built it specifically because I want it to look like this space station has been added onto over the centuries by all the different alien races that took it over, and each one has like a different building style and stuff. So I needed it to look different as it went, and so because it's Legos, I can take the parts off and just show like the beginning one when we go, 2,000 years in the past. And when we go 10,000 years in the future, I can have the great big long one and we can see how it changes over time. And Legos are great for that. 100% great.
Actually, even some of the creators of for the Lightyear movie, they even use some Legos as models for some of their ships and whatnot. To also answer Deadpool's questions, yes, the Emerald Turtle in my Unbeatables universe is part of a group of turtle-based like rangers. So he's like the classic green, like whatever you would associate him to be in turtle. But then there's one that's like a snapping turtle, one that's more like a sea turtle. All based off of like turtles and crystals and stuff like that. So he's known as the Emerald Turtle. Then there's the Sapphire Sea Turtle, the Red Ear Ruby, Ruby.
That's beautiful.
So there's actually a whole team and all that other kind of stuff. And I actually drew one of the other characters, and this was before I changed it to where he's like a Power Ranger character, because I have like this other character who's like the Sapphire Sea Turtle, but this was done in the original suit style of like the Emerald Turtle. It was a girl, so she had like this blue suit that had like the hexagon patterns, had the same helmet design. So I can't wait to dive into that, because I can't wait to show off the other characters that would partake in that. But again, that's going to be a very, very long time, because I'm trying to basically take issues number 1 and issues number 2 of the Unbeatables and trying to combine them into this brand new volume 1 of like this manga. And hopefully in volume 2, we can dive into the Emerald Turtle story, where we get to finally learn everything about, like why is he considered a war criminal in his home or in his home country, and why, he's on the run and whatnot. So that's actually going to be a whole lot of fun. And we get to also keep up with like Blue Angel and how she's like part of this world's rendition of the X-Men, how she was basically kicked out of it, or maybe she left on her own terms. We'll have to figure that out for some other time on the road.
Tune in, find out.
Tune in, find out, go follow it up on Webtoons. Again, I post one page every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But also, on top of checking out my comics, you should totally go check out Mr. Fish's stuff at GoMrFish.com. But I mean, hey, I don't need to be doing his promo for him. Mr. Fish, go ahead, pop off.
I'm Mr. Fish from Mr. Fish Comics, and you can find me everywhere on the interwebs at Mr. Fish Comics. I'm that on all social media. You can also go to MrFishComics.com, and you can buy all of the back issues of my books, except for the brand new Alice Lost in Wonderland issue 3 that I'm halfway through inking, and hopefully will be at the printer by the end of the month. And that you can still get at late pledges at GoMrFish.com, GoMrFish.com. Will take you right there. It'll always take you to the latest thing I'm working on, which right now is Alice Lost in Wonderland 3. And then issue 4 will be right behind that. Where can we find you, Esteban?
You guys can find me here on YouTube, which is going to be my name, Esteban Carrero. That's going to be Esteban CA 2 R's ERO. You'll be able to find me here. I happen to have an Instagram, which is actually Ultra Comics, spelled U1TR. God, because I can totally English ULTRA, which is U1TRACOMICS, which is on my Instagram. The links to those should be in the description down below. Also, you guys can check out my webtoons, The Unbeatables. You guys can check out my webtoon, The Unbeatables, because I can English. You guys can check out The Unbeatables on webtoons by searching up my name. That's what I meant to say this entire time, because I can English. But other than that, everybody, I had a blast. Sorry for all the crazy, cracked out, confusional situations on my end of things, because again, Florida, he decided to say, screw you to my house. So I am currently cooking up and sweating a whole storm and a half over here. It's like Niagara Falls in my armpits. So I think it's a good time for us to kind of cap things off over here. So to my fellow weirdos out there, to my fellow nieces and nephews, and for those who are watching, make sure to follow these 3 simple rules. Make sure to stay awesome, make sure to stay weird, and to keep life to the easiest. And of course, always remember that art inspires all, but you can inspire more. And never forget, your uncles love you.
Roll for Hero!
You know, and even if you were to have like a prompt of 10 different things, right? Like say if you had one prompt of like, oh, like here's 10 different personality traits, here's 10 different superpowers, here's 10 different drawbacks.
I like coming up with random list of powers and then just see what I come up with.
Imagine rolling just those things every single time. It's always going to vary. You know, the possibility of that happening is again like a 1 in 10 chance, but it's like, it shows that there's
There's always something else cool right around the corner that we can come up with, because